What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Investing Bros Afternoon Show. We got a lot to talk about today, but you need to go ahead and smash that like button. Bitcoin at a key decision point. We talked about it a little bit this morning, and after some kind of flirting with that level of support, we're still sitting in a spot where the next couple of days are going to be super important, whether or not Bitcoin ends up going back down to $20,000, or will 25,000 continue to hold as our strong level of support. Also, Ethereum had some breaking news earlier today that they would have their first Ethereum ETF approved, but as the day has gone on, it looks like that news might be changing. We're going to cover that and a whole lot more in this show, so make sure you do not go anywhere. Go ahead and strap on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and you're going to have a great time. I'm joined today by my good co-host, fantastic co-host actually, Mr. T. Shroom from down there in Florida. T. Shroom, how we feeling today?
Well, Tim, I'm going to continue my streak of being better than I deserve.
Good streak.
Despite it all, I'm doing better than I deserve because I'm still drawing air, after all. And I do have a quote that is very good. So let's get into that. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. What do you think about that one, Tim? You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I have to sit here and kind of break down the ins and outs of what that would mean for us, T-Shroom, but it's a good quote. Okay. Nonetheless, you continue to bring some goodies, oldies but goodies. Wait, was that by Plato as well? Who was that by?
Socrates.
Okay, we're moving.
Old Socrates.
I mix up my philosophers. Was Socrates before or after old Plato?
I don't know.
Well, see, now that's evil because that's ignorant.
I want to say after.
No, we want to say a lot of things, but
I think Alexander the Great was a student of Socrates, so he would have, and he was the final one in that trifecta, if you will. I'll look it up. And get back to you on that.
What's the guy? What's in Talladega Nights? Not Ricky Bobby, obviously, the good old Will Ferrell. What's the name of the actor that plays his friend?
Dude,
do you remember?
I'm trying to remember the Plato thing.
I don't know. Go back to Socrates.
I've never seen.
Go back to Socrates. Does it not? No, go to Socrates. There we go. Does Socrates not look like he's the side driver?
Talladega Nights guy.
What is his name? Talladega Nights. I don't know why I'm blanking.
Because I'm second guessing too. Because I'm pretty sure
John Riley and Socrates have a lot in common when it comes to face.
I'm pretty sure it's Aristotle who was the teacher of Alexander the Great now. But I'm gonna look it up. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we do need to do that. Thank you, French Toaster, by the way. Even though I think we'd said it, he definitely got that into chat before he heard that we had corrected that name. So good for French Toaster. Guys, we got a lot to talk about in crypto, so let's go ahead and jump on in. But let's take a look at some things we just got to talk about today. In case you had not heard about it already, we did have the EU inflation coming in at 4.3, so that is down. We talked about that this morning, but the European Union continuing to drop their inflation levels. Core PCE price index month over month coming in lower here in the United States. That's a very good sign. And then we did have the year over year come in exactly what was expected, higher than last month, but what was expected. So that's a positive sign. What I think could be a good thing, T-Shroom, and this is something that's been trending in the wrong direction for a while, personal spending versus income. We've been seeing spending continue to climb to the upside versus income dropping. Well, today that shift changes, both of them coming in at 0.4%. However, we are down in spending from last month and actually came in lower than the forecast. And when it comes to income, we're up from last month, and we came in again pretty much where we were forecasted, actually a little higher than the forecast. So that's a positive sign that Americans are starting to be a little more responsible with their money. You love to see it. But
that's one way to interpret it, yeah.
Don't count on that sticking that way next month. If there's anything that's consistent, is us Americans making some pretty colossal bad ideas, some bad decisions. We're used to it. Now, here's another positive sign for the markets. We are seeing an increase in the prediction that in about a month, we're going to see another pause from the FOMC. Bitcoin liquidations. Let's refresh this page. Take a look at our 24 hours. Bitcoin only at $17 million worth of longs and shorts liquidated. Pretty split. 8 million of those were longs. About 9.5 million of those were shorts. Ethereum, a little more lopsided, but it's still kind of balanced. Ethereum liquidations amount to 9 million of those were short liquidations. 3.6 million of those were long liquidations. So price overwhelmingly went to the, not overwhelmingly, overall went to the upside. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index coming in at 48. Let's take a look at our coin market cap open for right now. Not a whole lot of big movers other than we got XRP up 5%. We're going to take a look at XRP here in just a couple of minutes. Pushing back up. We didn't quite touch 55 cents, at least on the exchange that I'm looking at, but we're definitely flirting with that level once again. XRP, so far, what I'm looking at, it and Solana having the best day. Tron also having a pretty decent day of the top 20 coins. That looks like it for about the top 20. Let's see about the rest of the crypto space. Sui this morning was up over 10%. So it's taking a little cool off this afternoon, going back to the downside, only up almost 7%. Pepe as well, 6.5%. XRP cracking that top 4. And look at this Algo. Algo in the 5th spot, up 4.4%. Let's take a look at the biggest losers. Maker and Compound, 2 coins that previously, the last couple of days, were in the biggest gainers category, same as Terra Classic. Those ones are in some of our biggest losers for the day. Before we jump into the charts, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time here, we do have a couple of stories. Let's start with our top story here, T-Shroom, and then we will be jumping in and doing the charts. What is our top story for today's show?
Absolutely, Tim. Well, Valkyrie has backed off Ether futures purchasing until the SEC ETF approval officially goes on live, right? Until it goes effective. So this is a change from yesterday. In an SEC Form 497 filing, which I'm sure you're all super familiar with, the asset manager also said it would unwind any Ether futures purchases it had already made. So, if this had been significant, this probably could have shocked the market a little bit, the ETH market, which tells me it wasn't significant, meaning they hadn't purchased very many. So when they did go ahead and sell, it was not going to be that significant. Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Bluchanis tweeted that the unwinding of Ether futures purchases from Valkyrie is an example of the SEC not wanting to be a kingmaker via their policies and will do whatever they can to prevent someone from launching their own, like BITO, ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF in 2021. So the drama here with the ETFs is far from over. We're right in the middle of it. We're in the eye of the storm, if you will. Actually, that's a pretty good analogy. It feels like we're right in the middle of the eye of the storm, where we had a big flurry this week of headlines around Ethereum ETFs, and then it got really intense, and now it's slowed down. And it's like, well, they're not. Are they going to come? Are they not going to come? Are they going to come next week? And that seems to be kind of where things are landing. It's going to be a next week kind of thing. But Tim, what are your thoughts on this headline?
Yeah, this is a little bit confusing because, of course, this morning we had the news that said that they actually passed it. And so what I'm reading that, they're kind of, it sounds like it's almost their choice. Now, I read an article a little earlier that said that they probably did get some pressure from, I don't know what this means that they got pressure from the SEC, right? Because if the SEC approves it, it's almost like, I guess if this played out, the way it's kind of reading is like, all right, you have permission, but please don't. And if you don't, we'll help you out later. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what that conversation looks like. But I do know that after it was announced that they got this approved and everything seemed good to go, they're now saying, we'll hold off. And you know what, T-Shroom, at the end of the day, while this is the biggest story of the day and everyone wants to talk about it on social media, can I be honest with you about ETFs?
Hit me.
They're not that significant. They're really not. Let me explain to you why. I'm not saying long-term they're not. Like, there's a big difference. But everyone's expecting that the minute, whether it's a futures ETF or a spot ETF, that the price is going to go nuts, right? I'm not even going to say the guy's name that I saw this on. There's a person that posted over on X. He's like, what Bitcoin's chart will look like after the approval of spot ETF. And it's pretty much just the Bitcoin chart and then a massive green candle that goes up out of screen. Now, I'm not saying he actually believes that that's the price action, but what he's implying is that the day that the Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved, the price of Bitcoin is going to skyrocket and have a massive, gain, right? That's not going to happen. It's not. It's not going to happen.
There's a lot of smart people who still think that it will happen.
Okay, so sometimes smart people are wrong. Let me explain
No,
to you why these
that's
smart people are
absolutely
wrong.
true. That's absolutely true.
Even from a logical standpoint. So here's the thing. I'm not saying price won't go up eventually. Because guess what? The really bullish thing about spot ETFs versus futures ETFs is when you apply for a futures ETF, you do not have to buy whatever you're getting it. So to get this Ethereum and Bitcoin futures ETF up and running, the people trading it do not have to own and back every single Bitcoin or Ethereum that they offer out there, right? So maybe they hold a little bit, but they can get billions of futures options going and not have to hold billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? So it's very logical why that wouldn't happen. The bonus side of a spot ETF going is that to run a spot ETF, you do have to hold the Bitcoin, right? So that's a great thing. The problem is that it's not like out of nowhere, the day that the spot ETF launches, they're going to go out and buy a bunch of new Bitcoin. And effectively, just because people start buying the Bitcoin on their on let's say BlackRock, right? That was another headline today. BlackRock got theirs delayed. That's because everyone got their ETFs delayed. The government probably is shutting down. The day that people go in and buy from BlackRock, was any new Bitcoin created, destroyed, did anything? No. Did BlackRock acquire new Bitcoin? No. In fact, the price of the markets didn't even change because it's almost like buying it over the counter. You're buying it directly from BlackRock rather than going and buying it on some other exchange. It gets better when the demand continues to pick up, and then it forces BlackRock to go out and buy more Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin will increase and decrease when BlackRock decides to onload some Bitcoin onto their holdings and sell Bitcoins from their holdings, right? Well, guess what? Right now, BlackRock is acquiring a lot of Bitcoin. While long-term, BlackRock will continue to build and bring a lot of Bitcoin into its fold. There's nothing special about the actual day that they get approved and they start selling Bitcoin to their clients. Because when BlackRock sells Bitcoin to their clients, there's nothing special about that sale that makes the price go up. It's only special when BlackRock themselves goes out and buys Bitcoin from somebody else or sells Bitcoin to somebody else, if that makes sense. So in reality, the big movements are going to come leading up to the ETF. And I don't know how big of a movement that is because they already own a whole lot. They've been manipulating price up and down, up and down. And we're about to get in the charts and look at this, but they've been manipulating the price up and down to gather more supply. They're one of the big reasons why Coinbase is the largest holder of Bitcoin out there, with the exception of Satoshi Nakamoto. But then it's going to take time. I don't know if that means weeks or months or even years, which I don't think I say years. I think I'm in the category of months. It's going to take months for the demand of their clients to pick up. They're going to have to gain new clients. They're going to have to get their current clients more interested in it. And then as the demand picks up for people to be purchasing Bitcoin from BlackRock, now BlackRock will go out and they'll purchase more Bitcoin to add to their holdings so that they can offer it to more people. It will long-term help the Bitcoin price. But people who think the day the actual ETF gets approved, that means that all of a sudden the price is going to shoot up, that's a misunderstanding of how spot ETFs actually work.
It's
And
true.
most of the people we hear talking about these spot ETFs giving us an uptick in price, a lot of people want to almost believe that they're giving these exact dates, but a lot of the people calling for high prices of Bitcoin have been calling for high prices of Bitcoin since back in 2021. They didn't think that the price was going to go from 69,000 all the way down to 15.5. They thought we were shooting straight up to 100,000. It's because they keep giving us these dates that they actually have no idea what the date of the price is going to be, but they're very bullish on it over the next 5 to 10 years, which I am as well. But I don't think that Cathie Wood, I don't think that Michael Saylor, I don't even think like people like Mike Novogratz are the greatest at telling you the specific timeline that prices will increase. These are all very wealthy individuals who invest for long-term purposes, and they're okay with a season of time being a year, 2 years of being in the red if they believe the asset they're holding over the 5 to 10-year picture is going to increase, right? So the problem is you have these long-term holders telling retail investors who want to get rich overnight, hey, go buy Bitcoin, it'll explode in price. The spot ETF will make the price just go boom, right? Well, when they're saying this, their brain is communicating, go buy Bitcoin now because years from now you'll have a lot of money. Whereas what they're communicating or what's being heard by the retail investor is when this spot ETF launches overnight, the price is going to 2x. And that's just not how that works. And I think that's a very common misconception kind of being construed out there. And I don't want people to be disappointed. I want people to be prepared. I think price can rally up. Like at this point, we're looking at January, maybe February for the ETFs to be approved, right? Watch price start to go up maybe in December, maybe early January, some explosion in price. Maybe we shoot back up to 30,000, maybe go a little higher towards 36. That's not new all-time highs. It's just if we touch down to 20,000, that's a good chunk of change. That's almost a 2x. That'll be an increase in Bitcoin price by 75, 80%, right? That's explosive. Then the ETF will come out and price will trade sideways, maybe even dip a little bit for a couple of months while we deal with the halving and we get into the summer. And then the summer, that's, ladies and gentlemen, when price will get interesting. I think we'll have a new all-time high by fall, maybe early Q4 2024. We'll hit our new all-time high and be rejected late 2025, probably somewhere between $100,000 to $150,000. But that is time, and you have to be patient. That's not going to happen overnight in January when the ETFs are approved. That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
That was a nice little rant, T-Shroom, and we'll talk more about that. We have a long show. We can get more into that, especially if chat wants to. Let's get into some TA, but that means we have to listen to the trivia elves, the old factoid elves first. Do they have a question for us today?
Yes, they absolutely do. The factoid elf, the one and only exclusive factoid elf.
I didn't know if he had partners in crime or if it was a one-man operation.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
So really quickly before we do that, you asked the question, who came first? Well, the order was Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, Alexander the Great, who kind of was like meme-worthy at that point, like looking suave, like thick Squidward. All right, let's get into the trivia here. IOHK.
This is rude. Oh, this is, you mean nice one? Okay, let's go. Keep going. Yeah, you're good.
IOHK.
I thought it was going to be something about bad football teams or something.
Okay. IOHK. Well, I don't know why you would think that. Okay. IOHK donated ADA worth $500,000 to this English-speaking university in 2020. Was it the University of Kenya, the London School of Economics, the University of Wyoming, or Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I know it. I know the elf squeaked that last one in there just to toy with my heartstrings, and that's what I said. I read the answers first, and for some reason, my brain computed that the question was going to be something to do with bad football teams, and then my feelings got hurt even worse. But I do, elf, I appreciate it. I know it's not Virginia Tech, but I know you threw it in there because I let it drop the other day that Charles Hoskinson, while working on Cardano, he wasn't attending Virginia Tech. He was just in Blacksburg, Virginia, which is where the university is. I'm going to say that it's, Eric Wallen said either A or C. Good guesses. Why? Wyoming, a very friendly crypto state, a very friendly decentralized crypto state. I guess I should be specific these days because some states can be pro-crypto, but they like the centralization aspect. Wyoming's very decentralized. Kenya, obviously, the University of Kenya, I would assume is in the continent of Africa, which is the continent that Charles Hoskinson has been very outspoken and open with wanting to say he wants to change that entire continent.
All right, Tim, you got to pick one.
We
got to get to the TA.
T-Shroom, let me do what I need to do. Let me do this. All right, I'm going to say A, the University of Kenya. I'm using this opportunity to do my own factoid elfing, in which I educate people on the different answers and why they could be possible.
Okay,
but you've rushed me, and I'll A.
All
Final
right.
answer. All right.
Well, we shall see. Let's go ahead and get into the TA, Tim.
Okay. It's Friday. It's Friday. Which means we can't get too. French Toaster says, Tim, is that your final answer? That is my final answer, French Toaster. Did I take too long to answer, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. Gary C says, sounds like Gary Gensler getting questioned. Now you want to talk about offensive things, Gary C. That's what just got offensive. That hurts my feelings. All right.
Well, I know that the continent of Africa is a continent where Africa is, and my colleagues, we have as a staff, has come to a conclusion. All right, go ahead, Tim.
All right, guys, we're going to do some TA here. You guys know our TA is always brought to you guys by Chart Prime, the best indicators out there. If you're looking to trade or even just invest on some good swinging opportunities, and no, I don't mean swinging in terms of with life
Oh my
partners. I mean
gosh.
swinging in terms of swing trading. Please go purchase it with the link down below. 45% off your first month or first quarter, only using our link. So, all right, guys, decision point for Bitcoin. First of all, daily chart did find some support right here at a mid-level. That's a good sign, but nothing that it literally all it tells us is we're right in the middle. We're right dab smack in the middle, and we got to make a decision. Do we want to move to the upside or to the downside? With this, let's go to the 4-hour chart here. With this red line, you guys know I've been talking very heavily about it. We're still kind of respecting this as a level of support. So I'm actually going to go ahead and lean a little bit towards saying, Bitcoin, I'm proud of you. Bitcoin bulls, I'm proud of you defending this line. It's not so much a flat level of support at like saying 26.8. It's more about saying in this trend that we have been in since all the way back here in July and this falling level of resistance that we could not get the price over. You not only broke it the other day, you're using that same level as support. Now, this has happened before. Remember, the reasons why we have to continue to be cautious and continue to look at what we're doing is remember this level. 27,000 was a strong level of resistance as well, only a couple of weeks ago back in August. And we broke through. I told you guys we'd probably come back and retest it. Sure enough, we did. We wicked to it perfectly. So at this point, it was very easy for me to be like, oh, look at that. I called it perfectly. Well, after we bounced, we took a couple more candles here on the 4-hour chart, and then we lost all of it, right? The same exact thing absolutely could be happening right here. We could be testing a support and then lose it once again. What I want to see, now that we have seen this support hold, I want to see increased volume come in saying the buyers want to buy, and I want to see price get above 27.3. And that, to me, was the confirmation that we have officially turned this level of former resistance into support. Some reasons to potentially not feel great about this right now, guys. Like if things were overwhelmingly bullish, if this chart was in the middle somewhere, I would actually lean towards saying, guys, I think we're going to hold this support and move the upside. But I got to be honest with you. Seeing as that we are overextended, we have engulfing candles here on our RSI prime. We have overbought flashes right here. If I pull up my chart prime, we had a reversal right here. We rejected off of the red cloud. These are not stacking up to be great things that we're looking at. It gets even worse if I continue to take a look here. Let's pull all of this down and let's pull up some other levels here that have some significance. Let's look at Fibonacci from all the way back to our two most extreme price actions over the last couple of weeks. We are hovering right back down below the golden pocket, meaning after breaking through the golden pocket, we weren't able to hold it as a support level. In fact, we're down below it and kind of using it as resistance. Not a great sign, not really what I'm looking for right there. So for a couple different reasons, let's take a look at the hourly chart is saying here, because it's going to give us a little bit more zoomed in perspective. This is a positive sign. So we keep dancing from like positive to positive, negative, which is one of the big reasons I'm telling you guys this is a level to sit on the sideline and watch instead of trying to FOMO in to a trade, either long or short. We are not overextended. We did get an engulfing candle on the chart prime hourly chart. We did get some green flashes, even though they're small. We got some green histogram flashes on the MVP oscillator. No signal from the hourly chart prime oscillator, although it is curving to the upside. Again, so some more bullishness coming in here. This is the big thing, though. Let's go ahead and move out and let's take a look at more macro stuff. Guys, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Weekly chart. Yes, it's bending. Yes, we have a curvature right here. It got below the middle line, though, and this is a move that we've seen happen before. We've seen a move just like this when? Back in 2019. Let's go back to it, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you guys know that I've talked about this before. Of course, in 2019, after hitting our bear market bottom, we rallied over the next couple of months, hit a nice little high over here, about 13,900, give or take. And then we started a process of removing. We dropped about 50% of the Bitcoin price all the way back down to 6,500. But was that a straight drop? Did we just fall straight to it with no green days? Not at all. Look at the moves that we have in here. In fact, this is the one that kind of looks the most concerning to me right here. Is right before the biggest drop that we had during this fall. We actually had a week that gave people a lot of optimism in October. This was in the late mid-October, but that green candle right there, I'm sure there was a lot of people looking at that candle saying, finally, the dip is over. Finally, the bullishness is coming back in. In fact, in that week, after wicking down to about 72, let's just call it $7,300, we actually had a rally of 44% in 1 week. Guys, right now, if Bitcoin rallied this next week, 44%, you tell me you're not bullish. Well, guess what? After rallying 44%, we proceeded over the next 5 weeks. 5 weeks, we dropped 36%, came down and finished touching that level. And if it wasn't for good old COVID, that would have been the bottom of that movement, and we could have slowly but surely started our bull market, right? Let's take a look at the oscillators, guys. Tell me what you see when I show you the weekly chart oscillators. We come down, we have some curves. We curve right here. We start to move to the upside. Right below, staying below the 50, but we curve, right? We have an engulfing candle on the RSI primed, right? We're seeing all this stuff.
Yes.
Is that not exactly what we're looking at right here? Is that not exactly what the RSI and the chart prime oscillator are doing on the weekly? Let's keep making it worse, guys. Let's continue to bring ourselves pain and frustration when it comes to Bitcoin price. Let's go out to the monthly chart here, where, yes, it looks like we more than likely, guys, will end up finishing September in the green after a red July and a red August. But let me turn on Heikin-Ashi. Heikin-Ashi, we just had 2 red candles in a row. Heikin-Ashi candles measure momentum. They don't necessarily care if the candle is green or red. They talk about recent momentum. And after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months of green momentum, we have now flipped, and we're going to close September with a red momentum Heikin-Ashi candle. Well, let's go back and compare to 2019. Some of you guys have seen me do this, but let's do it again. So we have some green months here, right? This was only 5 of them. It was followed by 4 red candles before. We were eventually able to turn it green. This one turned red because of COVID. But again, as I've said probably 747 times, we don't count COVID. It's a black swan event. We still had these 4 red months right there towards the end of 2019 before the real bull market would take off. Guys, I'm still sitting here saying, is there chances for us to turn October green? 100%. Are there chances that we bottomed out at 25,000 and we're going to be moving up and to the right, and you will never have a better opportunity to buy ever again except for right now? Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. But there's still too many things out there, too many movements that can be happening. And again, every single time over the last couple of weeks that some sort of good news has come in, it's been a matter of days before that good news gets stolen away from us and something bad happens. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what that is. That is what we call manipulation. That is what we call people who have a lot of money, who know how to trick people who don't have a lot of money. They put FOMO in when they want you to buy and they want to sell. They put FUD in when they want to buy and they want you to sell. We have been manipulated on the price of Bitcoin ever since that $32,000 peak. And just as it seems it's sure thing. Everyone starts talking about we're going to, new highs. Then the price dips. And then when everyone's convinced, here we go, guys, we're going down to new lows or we're going down to 20,000. And I'm in that train. The difference is I'm staying on that train. I'm staying saying, I think that 20,000 is coming back in the equation, despite the fact that there was news that popped that said, hey, we actually are looking for some bullish narrative right here. We actually are breaking some resistance levels. We actually have some articles talking about ETFs and new things coming out with new institutions saying Bitcoin is great. All these articles are good, and they're telling us why long term we're going to see Bitcoin move up into the right. Guys, it's not time for Bitcoin to move up into the right. This is exactly what institutions who are getting involved and want to buy as much supply as possible want you to believe, so that you will buy when they can sell. Then you'll freak out as price starts dropping. You'll see the price get back down to 20,000 and you'll say, oh, this is so bad. And all the articles I'm reading are saying Bitcoin is dead and Bitcoin's going down to 11,000. I should probably go ahead and sell at 20,000 so that I can buy in at 10,000 and double my money, right? Well, then as soon as you sell, they're going to buy all of your supply, and the price is going to shoot back up, and you won't feel confident about buying again until 40,000. And then guess what? At 40,000, they're going to reject it again. This is just very common manipulation that happens, and I want you guys to make sure you are zooming out. Yes, it's always fun to look at the 1 hour chart and see what's happening, and it does tell you what's happening over the next little bit. And it's really fun to look at the 4 hour chart, and the 4 hour chart tells you more than what the 1 hour chart tells you. But if you zoom out, guys, and you're looking at the daily, and you're looking at the weekly, and you're looking at the monthly, it's telling us a story that we have a bright future. It's just not time yet. Continue to be patient, continue to be unemotional with your trades, and I guarantee you, you will win. Let's keep moving on here. Some other things that happen. I kind of got in a place where I want to do a little education of that and kind of talk about more macro. Bitcoin, here's another reason Bitcoin is bullish for right now, and a reason why, even though I still believe that Bitcoin is going down, there are opportunities out there for it to go to the upside. Of course, we talked about this all week. Where is my nope, that's the wrong one. Where did I find I don't know. I guess I didn't pull up an article. Guys, we stayed above 26,500 this morning. Of course, all week we've been talking about the options expiry for Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, that was 26,500 right here. I got rid of my line, but we can go ahead and put it back. Of course, we came back down almost to that level later today, but we're holding that as support as we speak. This was a big move for Bitcoin to stay in the positive and move to the upside. Ethereum had its own level it had to beat, and it did just that. It did that at 1,650. So this is bullish for both of these coins, and they're moving to the upside. Even though, again, Ethereum, similar things we're seeing to Bitcoin, overbought flashing on our 4 hour chart. I think the hourly chart's going to kind of be similar. No, actually, the Ethereum hourly chart's not as bullish as Bitcoin. The hourly chart's actually saying we probably have a little further to go to the downside as well. We are getting towards that midline, and we have seen some green flashes right here, but nothing here is flashing time to buy necessarily for Ethereum. I will say, I guess the only thing I'll give it credit for is, yes, this red reversal and bearish divergence got respected and we moved to the downside. Actually, it's been respected. Yeah, this isn't overwhelmingly bullish to me. Remember, I've talked about this in the past. When you ignore these signals, when you're getting nothing but flashes of sell, 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 but yet the price keeps going to the upside, that just communicates how overwhelmingly positive the bulls are. What I'm seeing here, though, is a lot of bearish divergences. I'm seeing every single time we do get a bearish flash, there's a small sell-off for Ethereum. Even if it doesn't get back to a spot where it's flashing buy just to go back up, it's still respecting all of the bearish signals. And what I'm looking at, guys, some overwhelmingly bearish divergence here is, yeah, we are continuing to set these higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. But look at our oscillators. Look at the chart prime oscillator right here. That's the highest point right there. That's the second highest point. That's the third highest point. We're continually setting that bearish divergence. And it's only a matter of time before that breaks and the price moves to the downside. Now, I said earlier, I think that the government shutting down could be bullish, but you never know. Looking at the history, when governments shut down, there's times where the price of Bitcoin and the stock market go to the upside. There's also times moves to the downside. We're pretty much just have to wait and see what the details of why the government's going to shut down, what the details are that continue to exist, what that means for the economy and for investing. But as it stands right now, I'm not liking what I'm seeing on the Ethereum chart, on the hourly chart. 4 hour chart, not liking. Of course, that one's massively overextended. Daily chart. I'm going to look at some other indicators here in just a second too, but just looking at oscillators for a start. Not liking this one either, guys. And here's the reason why. Because even though we're not seeing flashes of anything saying it's over purchased or overbought, once again, look at our oscillators climbing and setting new highs. Is the price doing that? No, it's not. If I were to go ahead and just draw this line from this peak right here to this peak, and then I draw this line from the peak of that candle body close down to where we are. Now, I want to see a red candle first before this confirms, but we're not looking good. We're not setting ourselves up in a spot that looks overwhelmingly bullish. In fact, it looks like we're just priming ourselves for rejection and a move to the downside coming your way very, very soon.
Absolutely.
Not what you're wanting to see necessarily. Let's take a look at some other indicators, though. Let's take a look at what we're seeing on the Chart prime. We're running into that trend assistant right there on the daily chart. Not yet to the dynamic reactor, but I do think that comes into play here. Oh no, it's even worse on the 4-hour. We got the reversal coming in. These have been lethal signals, guys. Lethal signals coming in there. We hit that red wave. Yes, we're above the dynamic reactor, so that's a good sign, but those don't flash very often. And look at some of the calls. That one, again, in a bearish trend, which we've been in a bearish trend since, let's keep scrolling out here. Since this point right here, April of 2023, we have been in a bearish trend. Look at every single reversal that was a red reversal. Let's look at how well those signals played out. Perfect, perfect, perfect for a little while. That one is probably the least perfect of them all, but pretty stinking perfect. Perfect. And this one we have yet to find out. But they have a track record recently of being very good reversals. Versus when we get bullish reversals, not a good one. We got the reversal and we kept moving the downside. Pretty good reversal right there. Not overwhelmingly bullish, but we did kind of stop the bleeding. So I'll give that one a pass. Decent signal. We had actually some good bullish momentum right there, but shortly after that, we plummeted even further. So we'll give it a 50-50. Not a very good signal. Yes, we moved up a little bit, but we just traded sideways and then continued to drop. Not a good signal. Barely had any upside whatsoever, traded sideways and then dropped. So overwhelmingly, I've got to respect in this current trend in the market, I've got to respect the red reversals. You got to have a lack of respect for the green reversals because they're not telling you the full story. Another reason, not feeling overwhelmingly great. The fact that you also pair that reversal with the fact that we got overextended into that red cloud, not loving that one either. Of course, again, guys, this is Chart Prime. Fantastic indicators that here's the other thing. I've said this now a couple of times. I think I'm going to just make it my thing. Do you guys want me to tell you what you want to hear or do you want me to tell you what you need to hear? Because I could make a case. This is something that charts can do. I could come in here every single day and only tell you the overwhelmingly positive and bullish indicators out there. I could make sure I don't take a look at anything that says price go down. I could do it because guess what? There are things out there. First of all, I would stay away from this chart. Maybe I'll go back up to the day. Let's look at the daily chart. Let's make the argument right here. Oh, we have further for the dynamic reactor. Look at how high this red cloud is. Guys, price can absolutely go to the upside. I can do that for you guys. But I also can just tell you what you need to hear, and that is this Ethereum pump, the Bitcoin pump. I don't think it's everything that everyone has thought it was. There's still a lot of resistance above us, and we're still technically in bearish trends. Speaking of bearish trends, let's go look at XRP. XRP had a fantastic day today, guys, and this will be the last one I do today. I'm running long today, having fun doing some TA. It's 4:37. We still have some stories to talk about, but it's Friday, we're having fun. XRP had a great morning this morning. We had a 10% rally. If you had bought, was this yesterday at 4 a.m., so it's actually a day and a half, right? Okay, so it's not all today. But if you had bought yesterday morning, you would be up. You could have sold a 10% profit on XRP. That XRP got to about 54.9 cents. So not quite 55 cents. You guys know I've been talking about 55 cents a long time ago, as I thought was the price we'd revisit and maybe use as support. Well, it turned out we just slashed through it. Now I've said, all right, watch it be a significant level of resistance. And we've tested it 1, gotten close, 2, now 2 more times, 2, 3. That continues to be a level to keep your eye on, but that resistance is very, very strong. Let's take a look at what our indicators are telling us. I could have told you before even pulling up the oscillators, but look what we have. Overbought flashes. Let me turn on this. Okay, no reversal just yet, but look at how deep we are into that cloud. And here's another thing. Let's just take a look. Since this high, way back in July, what is the trend of XRP? Lower highs. We're kind of rounding off, but still setting lower highs. Lower lows. That means we're in a bear trend. We've had a reversal here. Every single time we've come up and touched this red cloud, we have respected it and moved back to the downside. I'm very, very bullish on XRP long term, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing right here. I think we could continue to hold that dynamic reactor at 50 cents. I think that a pullback to 50 cents is a very good spot to kind of start with here. But when it comes to XRP, guys, I do think that the rally we had today is going to come back to the downside. Even if we hang up here for a little bit of time to wait for our nice red reversal signal to come in, I do think that we're going to probably move back to the downside. Even here, some people, there we go, reversal on the hourly chart. Whoa, massively overextended here when looking at our cloud. But some people are going to try to make an argument here for a bull pennant, guys. It's not a bull pennant. Why? Look at what our RSI is doing. It's not really moving to the downside. Yeah, technically the chart prime oscillator is moving slightly to the downside, but not very much so. If this was a pennant, we would see the oscillators kind of take a more aggressive slope to the downside, kind of as a reload type of scenario going on. We're not seeing that. Price is overextended. Oscillators are overextended on the hourly chart, 4-hour chart. This is a pretty classic reversal kind of coming in here. Which again, is there hope for it to do something positive? Yeah, there's hope. The biggest hope, again, because these things trade very similar to Bitcoin, the biggest hope I'm looking at is this right here that we talked about for a while now. The resistance level we broke through, and right now we're continuing to use it as support. That's the biggest hope, in my opinion, for prices continuing to move to the upside. But it's not overwhelmingly strong, not something that I'm going to put an overwhelming amount of confidence in. That's the TA we have for you guys today. Make sure, again, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. we have our weekend live. I'm a tomorrow t-shirt. I'm gonna actually do it from home rather than driving into the office. So my background will be quite boring. Hopefully the mic and everything still works well. Haven't used it in the longest time, but we'll still be talking about it tomorrow. We'll see what price does. Shout out to Crypto Seth in chat, by the way. Good to have you in here, Seth. Got to have you on here very, very soon. Make sure communicate with us. Well, maybe next week even sometime. T-Shroom, any thoughts you have about those charts? Any opinion you have before we get to our trivia elf answer?
Well, I threw up a poll. Maybe you could have a look at the poll, but this is something that was interesting to me as well. Just kind of supports your position, Tim, which is that we have a ways to go. I mean, if you take a look, so this is the stock to flow model here. This is something that's been pretty reliable. As you can see, though, this cycle of the 4-year cycle, we've gotten pretty low, right? And it's been the longest period that we've had this green down here in this oscillator. So we are in the blue, we are in the dark blue, and that is then that transitions into, here, I'll zoom in here, that transitions into dark purple, and then that transitions into red, and then orange is kind of where things take off. So let's go back out here and see kind of where are we now in that transition. And it shouldn't be a super big mystery, but you can see that there's a good bit to go even to the halving. Now you could make an argument that we could see it, kind of front run the halving and take a nice movement to the upside early. But you'd be rolling the dice to take that chance. Tim, let's get into the answer here to our factoid. It is the University of Wyoming. So,
okay. I got it wrong today, guys. Got it wrong. I thought it was going to be Kenya. I'm surprised, actually.
The answer was C, University of Wyoming. IOHK donated ADA worth $500,000 to this English-speaking university in 2020. It was the University of Wyoming. I'm not going to read that title again because I literally just read it. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's proof.
Very interesting.
2020. Yeah.
Crypto AI says, what would government shutdown do to crypto? I talked about that a little bit ago, Crypto AI, while I was doing the TA. There's a history where sometimes we've actually seen stocks and crypto respond positively to a government shutdown. Most recently, the most recent one, 2018, 2019. This is when Trump was president. There was a 38-day shutdown, the longest shutdown in the history of the government having shutdowns. It marked the bottom of the Bitcoin bear market. It marked a bottom of a descending level of price in the S&P 500. So in that situation, it was very, very bullish. But then you go back, there was a situation in 2013 that the price kind of got volatile, didn't do overwhelmingly upside or downside, but it did more downside than upside during the shutdown. And then there was another one. I think there was 2 in 2013. I could be wrong. I have to go back and look at the exact dates. But so the first 2 in Bitcoin's history, bearish. The most recent one, it was bullish, but it was also the bottom of the bear market. So was that a coincidence? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Again, I think the other important thing is going to be, how does people respond in sentiment to a government shutdown? Does a shutdown inspire any type of fear that a recession could be closer than we think? That would be a negative price action. The reason I think it could be positive is because government can't spend money when they're shut down. Not every single government agency will be shut down, but enough of them will that maybe people feel optimistic about our future. I've seen lots of very funny tweets out there over the last couple of days about the positivity of a government shutdown, but we're going to have to wait and see on that one. I see a case for both positive and negative price action from a government shutdown. So we're just gonna have to wait and kind of watch how that one plays out.
Yeah. Well, according to the poll that we have down in the chat of this very video, Big Pump leads when asked the question, what happens when Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved? There's going to be a big pump, says 50% of the people.
Yeah.
And then trade sideways and sell off is tied neck and neck. So my view of that is that we will get a pump. But I wouldn't be surprised to see either of the other options. The thing is like, it's anybody's call, and it's who's to say. This has never happened before. But the reason I say I think we'll get a pump is because when the futures ETFs went live, Bitcoin went higher. So I mean, it was during already a cycle of movement to the upside. But what, you're shaking your head no, Tim?
It didn't. I mean, what are you talking about when you say that the futures ETF brought a uptick? In fact, the price got volatile and didn't really do much else. It went a little bit higher. The first Bitcoin futures ETF happened shortly before the all-time high, but it happened at 11. It pretty much happened at that first peak. Like, so if you guys go back to 2021, which I don't know why I'm saying if you do, I literally am on a chart. I can go back and show you.
Yeah, if only we were set up to be able to share charts. Oh,
yeah, if only that was something we could do. All right, guys, let's this is, if you guys have seen me scroll back and you saw this is the day that the Bitcoin futures ETF was approved.
Okay.
So look what happened. It was approved on this candle. The next day, we shot up to $64,000. Then we proceeded with a bunch of red candles, a couple green ones, red candles, and then we shot up a little bit further, barely beat this new all-time high, hit at 69,000, and then moved. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I said 64,000. 64,000 was back there. We shot up to 66.7, 66.8. But overwhelmingly, that is not. So when I'm shaking my head, I'm saying we didn't have an explosive rally. We had another green day and then a bunch of red days after the ETF. We actually, I would classify this as sideways volatility right before the bear market. Now, I'm not going to blame the Bitcoin futures ETF on the bear market. It was time. This is part of the 4-year cycle. It was time for the price to sell off. But my point is, no, it didn't shoot up and to the right. It kind of actually stayed boring. Let's go back and look at another one that some people disagree with me about using this, but I like using it. And I think that it's similar because guess who was wanting to go after gold during this time? Institutions. Let's go back and look at gold back when it had its first ETF approved, all the way back in the grand old year of 2024. Couldn't remember what exact date it was. So this is a weekly chart. So again, we're not looking at days here, but this is the day that the gold ETF got approved. And this was the day we finally started some firm upward momentum. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 40 candles. Remember, we're on the weekly chart. That means 9 months of sideways, overwhelmingly more downward price action. In fact, the week that it got approved, we only had 1 week where price was higher than the week it got approved over a 9-month period. Now, I'm not saying that has to do that exactly, but my point is this allowed massive institutional adoption to come into gold. And then we saw 9 months of boring sideways action. That's not explosive upward movement. I'm not, again, I want to make sure people understand. I'm not saying impossible for Bitcoin to get a nice rally, but historically and precedently, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it. ETFs are not explosive. Notice this, you guys. Notice this. There is a rally up in the weeks leading into the approval because of more than likely, they probably didn't approve a gold ETF out of thin air. They probably have been talking about it. So after, moving upwards, have some volatility, some sideways action right here in the year before, early in the year of 2024. Months later, they got exciting. They pumped into the approval. Then the approval happened, and they got sideways and boring for 9 months. If we get an approval, guys, in Bitcoin in January, that's great. That's fine. Come on, chart. Work with me here. Come back over to this. There we go. All right. If we get an approval in January would be right here. All right. So what I've been saying for a while, I still think that October is kind of rough. Maybe my timeline even gets pushed into November. Maybe early November is when we really hit our bottom. But I think I still see us getting down here. somewhere in this time range, late October, early November. I see it shooting back up, and I see a good little rally into January, right? I then see a nice kind of sideways, maybe retest 30,000 support, kind of sideways for the next, I don't know, if we're going to follow gold, let's call it 9 months. Let's do some math on that. 9 months from January. What day is that? September. September, let's put a little mark in September of 2024, not 2025, right? Okay, I went too far. Guys. My apologies with my drawing. September, let's call it just right there. What the heck, Tim? Get your stuff right. There we go. September. Let's call that yellow line September. That would give us what? The exact same cycle as the explosive starting to a bull market as back in 2019. The really explosive stuff did not happen till when? October of 2020. Well, 4-year cycles are more realistically like 3-year, 11-month cycles. What's 3 years and 11 months after October of 2020? September of 2024. So I'm not saying this is how it has to play out perfectly, but as I'm doing my analysis and I'm looking back at historical precedents, which is what technical analysis is, that kind of price action, which was very ugly, let me draw it, this type of price action would just be like a repeat of history to do this.
Yes. This is very good, Tim. Very good analysis. I like it.
Yep.
Now, if I could finish my sentence. So
Yeah.
I think it'll go up the day that the ETF launches, because there's loads of people who just, they see a headline, they make a decision, right? And just like when we saw the futures ETF go live, you just showed very, very well, and I really did appreciate that. That was a good bit there, but I think it'll immediately come back down. So then also the thing to consider is will it have been baked in by that point? Like if there isn't a run up to the release of the ETFs, then I think that there might be a big pump and a sustained move to the upside, a bull rally, right? But if there is not but more than likely it's going to get bought into that event, and then it'll have a spike and then it'll get sold. That's my prediction, right? So it kind of depends on how clear the SEC is with the public on when they plan on approving that spot Bitcoin ETF. If it's very cloudy, then it could have a big spike on the day. If it's very clear and they say this is the deadline, and then there's some like kind of hints that is going to be the one, then I think you have a buy into it, and then it has a spike and then sells off. All right, let's get into these stories here, guys. These ETFs are big. We're very excited by them. Binance urges users to convert euros to USDT after PaySafe debank. So to go through this one quickly, it's probably not going to affect you unless you're in Europe, but on September 28th, Binance urged European PaySafe users to convert their euro balances in their Binance accounts to USDT before October 31st, noting that PaySafe has unilaterally decided to stop processing the euro deposits for Binance users. So again, if you're in Europe, you probably have an action to take here, and if you use Binance. But for the rest of us, this means that there's something moving in the regulatory space over there for crypto on ramps, because this organization here that was helping process fiat on ramps, they have ceased. They have decided to stop processing. What made them decide is kind of the question there. Also in the news here, Circle intervened. We talked about it this morning, but we'll go a little bit more in depth here. Circle intervenes in Binance's SEC case, argues stablecoins aren't securities. Of course, they have a pretty big interest in that because they are the issuer of USDC. In June, regulators charged Binance with multiple legal violations for facilitating trades in cryptocurrencies such as Solana and Cardano and the Binance stablecoin BUSD, which the SEC alleged constitute unregistered securities. Payment stablecoins on their own do not have the essential features of an investment contract, meaning they fall outside of SEC jurisdiction. Circle's filing said decades of case law supports the view that an asset sale decoupled from any post-sale promises or obligations by the seller is not sufficient to establish an investment contract. Well, if you've got a bunch of stablecoins, more than likely, Circle has made an argument that you'd agree with, right? So that's something to watch. I don't think that this is going to be too big of an issue. I think that more than likely, the SEC is not going to be able to get stable coins on being a security. I think they'll be able to get them. If they're going to go after them, they're going to have to find a different angle, because there's literally no return of your asset becoming more valuable in the future. It's the opposite of that. All right, Three Arrows Capital co-founder Su Zhu has been arrested in Singapore. I don't know that the details are super relevant, because this is kind of the big one right here, right now. So they found him, ladies and gentlemen. They got him. So that's going to be our stories for the day. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to point out was the oil prices are coming back down. So oil's back down to $90 per barrel. I'm here on the hourly chart. You can see that on the 28th, it got up to 90. It wicked up to 90, almost $95. Call it $95 per barrel, and has retraced since then, which is pretty good. That's a good sign. Again, why do we care about it? Oil? Because it is basically it's the difference between whether or not we go into a recession, right? It's a difference between whether or not the Fed can start to bring those rates down, and we will be higher for shorter. But so we'll see. Is oil just reloading right here, right? Is it going to put in this higher low and then make a move higher? That hopefully is not the case. It has had a very steep movement to the upside, so unfortunately, that's kind of what it looks like it's gearing up to do, kind of coiling back up so it can make a move higher. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I talked about this earlier today. I think it would be nice to see it retest the level back here, about $85 or so, former resistance level back here in August. Would love to see it fall back that far, kind of take some wind out of his team. If it doesn't fall back that far, I think you're right, T-Shrim. It's overwhelmingly, the charts are showing us it is regrouping. Daily chart and down. You start looking at the 12-hour chart. It's regrouping for sure. I think we need to see significant decrease in price on oil. Otherwise, I think that $100. I think that $100 per can could definitely happen.
Per barrel.
Per can. There's a chat here put in here, which is great. Doubles 82. Dobles 82. I don't know. I don't know how you say it. After first gold ETF got approved, the price of gold skyrocketed from $450 to more than $1,800 in August 2011, marking the increase of a whopping 346%. Absolutely. It took 8 years. I'm not saying the Bitcoin ETFs are not going to see us with massive increases. I think that these ETFs are going to be a part of the reason why Bitcoin does get to $1 million and institutional adoption becomes so massive. My point is, be patient and don't expect it to happen overnight in January or February.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, it is almost 5 o'clock here, T-Shirt. Do we have any more stories? Do we want to do some Q&A and kind of wrap out the show here today to wrap out this fantastic week?
There's not really any more stories. I can check the breaking news if you want me to, but
make sure we don't miss anything. But let's check out and see what is happening here. I don't. He's in the room with me nice now too. Indie Rock Crypto says Nick looked like a senior in the class of 1964. Nick, what do you say about that? Someone just commented that today you looked like you were posing for a senior picture in the class of 1964. He says that's fine. He likes it. Oh. He approves. He approves that message. Let's see. Alex Crypto said, "What you guys got planned for the weekend? Have a blessed day." Yeah, T-Shirt, what do you got planned this weekend?
This weekend, I'm probably gonna watch the Gator game with my family.
Yep. What are they playing this week? I need to do those predictions tomorrow.
I have no idea. I want to say Kentucky, maybe.
Okay, interesting.
What are you doing this weekend, Tim?
Yeah, so I'll probably watch some football. We of course have our live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be fun. I'll watch some football. Taylor and Brody went to go visit some family this week. So Sunday, I'll go pick them up from the airport. That'll be fun to see them again. Cool. She sent me pictures. Maybe I'll post pictures over in Discord. She made some pictures of him meeting his cousins for the first time, my brother's kids. So I'll post those over in Discord for anyone who wants to see them. Speaking of the Discord, if you guys are ever like, man, I wish that the Investing Bros were live 24/7. That's impossible because we have to sleep, we have to do other things. But we do have a Discord that's alive 24/7 that people are constantly talking and communicating. You guys need to go check it out right now for the free price of free, by the way. You don't want to miss that. We also have some announcements. So I think T-shirt, I want to make sure which days is, but I know Monday, we are not going to have a live stream. Tuesday, are we going to have a live stream Tuesday?
So, no. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely not Tuesday. Monday, there's a chance, but probably not. But we'll have a morning show.
Yep.
Maybe, yeah. So we'll have a morning show on Monday. Not show, just a morning video.
Yep.
And then no stream until Wednesday, basically.
Yep. And so there's a couple things here, and I want people to know, and people are going to get used to this, but when we shifted to the afternoon, we really wanted to shift to 3 to 4. But out of respect for our good friend Kelly and the BitLab Academy, who he was going live from 3 to 4, we said, you know what, we'll go 4 to 5. We'll go right after Kelly. But Kelly is no longer doing 3 to 4 o'clock live streams in the afternoon. So next week, we will be shifting our live shows to 3 to 4. So some people are going to miss it. We'll get used to it, but we're going to have that nice slot in the future. But what's going to happen in the future is anytime we cannot do shows, this is what I want you guys to get used to. I'm not going to go live myself without T Shroom. I don't have all the setup that he has to run the live stream, but what I will start doing is doing lives in our free Discord. So of course we have our bro times for our paying members, but anytime we don't do a live show here, I'll just go live on Discord for all of our members over there. We'll talk TA, we'll talk life. Should be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's super cool.
Look forward to that next week again. We won't have a show. We'll just go ahead and say, because I know T-Shirt, you got to go out of town. We're not going to have a show Monday or Tuesday, but I will be live in Discord. And Tuesday morning, I'll make sure to put out a phone record over on YouTube. And we will be going live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very excited. I know we just moved. We literally just moved from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. But we wanted that 3 p.m. slot anyway. And we're going to go ahead and make that move now that Kelly is no longer going to be doing 3 to 4 o'clock stream. So put a 1 in chat if you guys are excited about that, excited about the bros. We'll read a couple chats on the way out. Alex O'Crypto said, awesome. Thank you so much. Coin Operator said, da boys. Thanks for working so hard to provide premium content. You know what, Coin Operator? Thank you for thanking us for providing good content. Thank you for watching that said content. A said, World Mobile is launching its first Aerostat in Mozambique. T-Shroom, this is a story. Good to know. World Mobile, of course, one of the top layer 2s on Cardano. Make sure you guys okay, this is the kind of stuff, by the way, it's not just me and T Shroom who bring the alpha over in Discord. We got Ada Ace over here, a Cardano genius, about everything you need to know in the Cardano ecosystem. This man has it down pat. We got some good old, you never know what you're going to get from Eric Wallen and Crypto Set Guy. The Agents of Chaos, but it's always good fun and good reads over there. Bedridden is always dropping some good information, dropping some news headlines. It is literally the Discord that the conversation never stops. So make sure you guys are over there. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's show. And let me think. As we wrap it up, the kind of thought of the day. We've had a lot of good thought of the days here recently. But T-Shroom, what would you say is something that every single person needs to be integrating into their life that maybe they're not?
Wow. I'd say Google Tasks for productivity. Google Tasks. Without Google Tasks, I would not be where I am today. Now what's cool is it's an app on your phone, and it's also an app that integrates directly into your Gmail account on your desktop. And you can seamlessly see all of your tasks that you might have to do professionally or personally. You can delineate that, and then you can put dates on it. It's you can use it as simply as you'd like, or as in depth as you'd like as a productivity tool. So I know usually we hit on some kind of like pseudo spiritual philosophical type of thing, but if you don't use Google Tasks or something like it,
listen,
this
is still good. Listen, I don't care who you are. I've heard people say that are free spirits. I used to think I was a free spirit, and since I've gotten grown-up jobs, I've learned I'm not a free spirit whatsoever. But even free spirits, the testimonies of people that will say, I thought I was a free spirit, and then I learned to actually discipline myself. Discipline and order are essential for life. There are people in this world that are special that can get away with kind of winging things and going about things, but every single thing you do in life, order and discipline is going to be something that takes it tenfold. So even as simple as that, T-Shroom, it seems simple, but that's awesome. Google task your life. Create some order, create some balance. You know, there's things like the books by Jordan Peterson, the was it 12 ways or 12 simple things of life, and it starts with things like get up and make your bed, clean your room. You know, they sound silly and they sound little, but scientifically, when you do the little things and you create the order and discipline you need, everything finds a way to fall into place in your life. So I encourage you guys, don't be lazy. Continue to discipline your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, and create order in your life and watch what happens because of it. Guys, that's all we have for you today. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our special Saturday stream. That being said, you guys have a fantastic weekend. Go touch some grass. Go hug a friend. Hug a baby. That's good for the soul as well.
Yo, yeah.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, catch a word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.